Welcome to the Colonial Theater. In the unlikely event of a fire or evacuation, please quickly but calmly follow the usher in your section through the nearest emergency exit leading to the meeting points outside the building. Emergency exits are located downstairs, both on the right and the left of the house. And for those closer to the back, please keep in mind the nearest exit might be behind you. For those in the balcony, please exit the way you came in and out through the emergency exits in the inner lobby, past the men and women's restrooms, or out through the front doors. Again, follow the usher in your sections to the meeting point. Meeting points are located on the sidewalk in front of Margaritas, behind the Miller Brothers Newton building, or behind Margaritas in the parking lot. Please do not remain in the theater or return unless told to do so by an authorized official. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Hello, Keene! Yeah! My name is Keith Marks. I'm still the new-ish executive director of the Colonial. It's nice to be here with you, Keith, to celebrate. All right. I like a rowdy crowd. So 30 years ago, this city gave new meaning to the phrase concrete jungle, right? For a brief moment in time, these streets became wild, mysterious, and most importantly, cinematic, creating a capstone cinematic event for the entire world. I'm told that what really made it special was not so much the lights and the cameras, but it was the people in the community that was here. So it was neighbors opening up to neighbors, strangers making friends, businesses opening to people, and making everybody that was a part of that project feel really connected to this city. So in that spirit of generosity, creativity, and shared adventure, that was as much a part of Jumanji as it is a part of this community. And tonight is an opportunity to see our own story in both the familiar and the extraordinary, to know that what happened on the screen happened here, happened amongst us. And so it's an honor tonight to welcome a few guests. And the first guest will be the original location manager, the gentleman who saw what Keene has to bring to Hollywood. It's an honor to introduce Mr. Dow Griffith. Hello, Keene. Keene, you are really keen, if you know what I mean, because you make a scene. You can be seen on the big screen. Jumanji. And I am just so impressed by the world-class fame of the enthusiasm of Keene. And I can vouch, I have spread the word all over the world. Keene, by far the most enthusiastic anywhere. Small part of being able to bring a great excuse to party and celebrate and commemorate and create more parking problems and traffic jams. It's an honor. And none of this, of course, would be possible without the thorough and thoughtful cooperation of the mayor's office, the city council, the police, the fire, the Department of Public Works, and all of the businesses, the whole business association got behind this. And that doesn't happen everywhere. And another element that I'm very impressed with is the excellent Patty Little, who worked with me personally throughout the whole thing, made it happen by all the coordination, and the best city clerk, but also, in my mind, she's sort of the Keene Film Commissioner because of all the liaison work that she did. Now, you might
might be surprised to learn that we also owe a debt of gratitude to Brewbaker's Coffee. And I'm going to tell you why, because I love telling this story. So, back in April Fool's Day, April 1994, I began to look around for locations, which is one of my first responsibilities, to figure out where to make movies. And in those days, 1994, there was no like fancy film commission online library to browse photographs and stuff. Instead, you did it the old-fashioned way, which is my preference. You get in a car, you take a million pictures. Oh, in fact, that reminds me. Take a picture of this. I drove all over Kingdom Come and covered as much territory as I had time for. Connecticut, Massachusetts, Maine, New Hampshire. And I would consult with the film commissioners that existed in that time in their modest form that had less financing than they do now. And I found some good contenders, some possibilities as I traveled around. I met a lot of great people, and found a lot of things, but I did not find one thing. One thing that was very important to me is a good cup of coffee. In Seattle, we're a little picky about our coffee, so I would go into places and I would say, I'd like a double dry cappuccino, and they go, what? And I'd have to explain it, and after a while I go home. So I got frustrated, I complained. Somebody said, you should try Keene. There's a great coffee shop in Keene on the main street, right next to the theater. So I made a beeline. I rushed in there. I ordered a double dry cappuccino. They did not say, what's that? They served me a double dry cappuccino, and I was relishing it. And I went out to the front door. I felt satisfied. And I looked over to my left. I went, oh my God, look at that. That's where we gotta film the movie. So thank you. Thank you, Brewbakers, for bringing Hollywood to Keene. Now, we're gonna screen the film. It's gonna be great. We have to abide by old tradition, tried and true. The first time this film was ever seen was right here in this theater. Worldwide premiere, and we had a tradition that was established then, and that is, as we watch the film, if you see a scene in Keene that you recognize, give a shout out. If you see a person that you recognize, give a shout out. Because we're here to celebrate Keene and the people of Keene. Thank you.
I think Keene should have got Best Supporting Actor. Our next guest, you might have recognized him when he was 12 years old here filming. It's a long time ago, right? But you can't do the math, he's told me. Don't do the math. He's had a long career in acting and voice work and getting into producing. It's an honor to welcome one of the actors back, Mr. Bradley Pierce.
Hey everybody. Thank you everybody. It is an honor to be back here in Keene. Yes, it has been 30 years since the last time I was here, and it is still just as incredible. All of you guys, the town, the city, the people, the energy here is just so wonderful. Everybody is so friendly. The hospitality, I have been treated so well since being back up here, and I remember that was part of being here the first time. Thank you. I don't have a lot of specific memories. Most of what I have is silly little things, playing tag in between the trailers and running around in the center, piggybacks from the officer that was helping take care of us to get to and from set. Somebody, and I don't know who, climbed up on the statue of the horse and put his beer can in his hand. But that happened, and you might be able to see that in the movie too. But Keene is the kind of town that makes people fall in love with small towns. It is everything that makes this work, and it's the people, not the places, but the people that makes that the case. So thank you all for being such incredible humans. And I have been doing this a while. I started acting when I was about 7 years old, so I had done a few projects before I came here. But this was the biggest thing I had done up to that point, and honestly, the biggest thing I had done since. One of the things that sticks out in my mind most was just how epic everything was when I got here that first day. The crowds of people who were there to watch, most of them were either business owners or just locals that came in. People were coming in from 20 minutes, half an hour, 45, an hour away just to come and see this shoot. We had all of the equipment, we had all of the special effects, all of the trailers, and it was amazing to see all of that coming together and to be a part of it. So I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did putting it together. I was a part of this huge team. But, who's seen the movie before? Hands? Okay, so this isn't the first time screening for most of you. Who's seen the movie more than 5 times? More than 10? All right, fewer hands now. The more important question, who is here tonight to see this movie for the very first time? 1, 2, 3. That is a much smaller number. All of you, enjoy it. It is an amazing film that everyone who was involved was honored to be a part of. So thank you all so much for that. And we'll see you after the film.
Our next guest that we have this evening is a gentleman who was the prop master, meaning he designed and produced all of the props that we'll see in the movie tonight. Everybody see the game board that came through? It's an honor to introduce to you Dan Sissons.
It's really great to be back with you. I've never done anything like this before. Prop people are usually behind cleaning the bad off of something, so bear with me. Being a prop master, we do all sorts of strange things. Jumanji was special because the movie revolved around something, and that's very rare, and so that was a real honor, and I'm very pleased with that. But it's all sorts of weird little things too. So I call it the spirit of Keene. And so we were just down the street, second day of filming, I think. Beautiful morning, established and shot. Kids riding their bikes, milkman delivering milk, mailman doing stuff. And I had one guy mowing the lawn off on the side. And I walked up to Joe, the director. We were getting ready to shoot 10 minutes maybe. And I said, how's it looking? And he says, do you have another lawnmower? And this is like 1969, right? So everything is old and vintage. And I bought one from Boston, I think, and it was working fine. It was the kind you pushed. And I didn't have another lawnmower. And one thing you never do is you never say to the director you don't have something, or you don't have something, because that's not a good idea. So anyway, I was about to say I didn't have something, and I heard this voice behind me. There was like right behind where the camera was, there was like maybe 10 people lined up just kind of watching, because it's cool to watch a shoot. And I heard this lady's voice, and she said, I have an old lawnmower. And I turned around, and there's a lady standing there, and she's kind of waving at me, and I walk over, and I go, you have an old lawnmower? And she says, yes. And I go, well, where is it? And so within about 30 seconds, I had this production vehicle, and we were like racing down some alley, and I was just around here somewhere, and we were like, she goes, stop here, this is the one. So we stop, and we lift up, and sure enough, there's like this great, beautiful, vintage, real style lawnmower. And we race back to set, and and I said, Joe, and I gave these thumbs up and everything like that. Anyway, I'd forgotten her name. I wonder if she's here tonight. It would be great. It would be great if she was. And that's my Spirit of Keen story.
So it's an honor and a privilege to have one of the set pieces, probably the most iconic of the set pieces, being the game board here. And our next guest is somebody who really respects the art of cinema in such a way that he feels that preserving these relics tell a much larger story than just the story of the movie, but of our heritage and our culture. And so with that, I'm really excited to introduce my friend Jeremy Stieglitz to the stage, the gentleman who is putting this game board on loan for display for everybody. So without further ado, Jeremy and his daughter Diana.
Hello everybody, hello Keen. Diana, can you say hi to Keen? Well, I had nothing to do with Jumanji, but I am a movie fan. I'm a game designer, and game recognizes game. And frankly, Dan and the team in production created one of the most iconic games of all time, right up there with Monopoly and Scrabble. Probably, in my opinion, a little more popular than them anyway, certainly more dangerous. So when I first moved to Keene, I had a little surprise that I didn't know about. I didn't know Jumanji was shot here, and I definitely didn't know that the house that I bought was actually in the film. So I'm definitely going to scream when that scene comes up, very early in the film. Scream used house, as it were. But with the game board, when that opportunity came up and I heard from Kathy about this event, I was like, we got to get this thing back where it belongs. And I'm really happy that it's going to be here, both during this event at the Colonial for everybody to check out, and also permanently with a little historical display in the lobby. So I hope everybody We did have to put it behind some plexiglass though, because we can't have anybody rolling those dice. You never know. Take care everybody, enjoy the movie.
So the game board will be on display in the lobby of the Colonial. So for those of you that have friends that wanted to come here tonight who couldn't make it, they can come and see the game board. Our next guest is somebody who most of us know and love. It is somebody who has supported this region for so long, and tonight he's going to make a proclamation in honor of the 30th anniversary. It is an honor and a pleasure to welcome the Mayor, Jay Kahn.
I feel like someone from the Ed Sullivan Show bringing up my props. Hey, in addition to the main acts, and we've seen some of the folks that brought Jumanji to life in Keene, Dow, Dan, and Bradley. There is a group of people from Keene who have made this weekend possible. Brandy Wells, who helped produce this. Kathy Bergstrom and Susan McNeil, who helped organize this, and two of our downtown merchants who are active in almost all of our downtown festivals, Ted McGreer and Tim Pitt. Thank you very much for your activism, your wanting to bring Jumanji's 30th anniversary to life. It's an important highlight in our community's history, but not the first film that we've ever done. So I had to consult my friend and Keene's film faculty member from Keene State, our film historian, Larry Benequist. He's in the house, Larry. And to remind myself of our film history, beginning with silent movies. The Homestead. How many people have seen The Homestead? The play. In Swansea? No. And so the silent movie of The Homestead was produced in 1915 and filmed in Winchester, New Hampshire. And how many have seen the movie Lost Boundaries? Yeah, more, two more. Well, Lost Boundaries is the story of a black family in Keene in the 1930s that passed as white, and for much of their lives and their children's lives. And Lost Boundaries is the story of that family and that physician in Keene, in the town of Keenum, produced in 1949 by Louis de Rochemont. And that film has been shown, and the family has come back for reunions in Keene several times. On Golden Pond, some people remember that one. Not filmed, not so far away, on Swan Lake in Laconia. And Larry discovered that the brown bunny in 2003 was shot on Washington Street. And of course, we've got Larry's own film on Jonathan Daniels, Here Am I, Send Me. And then Ken Burns, who frequents Keene and the Colonial Theater occasionally, and is the owner and of Florentine Films, and has produced so many notable American history docuseries. So that's our film footprint, Jumanji folks. But truly, Dow, Bradley, Dan, you are responsible for giving us an incredible trophy to add to our film showcase, the film Jumanji. Jumanji is marvelously creative, mixing fantasy and reality, sci-fi and humor. We are pulled into that mystical world to discover love, courage, and family values. And that's what makes that film so endearing over so long a period of time. So I have this distinct pleasure. Oh, and by the way, that city clerk that was so accommodating to the film Jumanji just retired a couple of months ago, and that was Patty Little after 46 years. So on behalf of the city of Keene that Patty served for 46 years, and that I'm proud to be the mayor of, I have a proclamation from the city that whereas in 1995 the blockbuster film Jumanji, starring the beloved Robin Williams, premiered, forever entwining the fantastical world of the film with the picturesque streets of Keene, New Hampshire. And whereas the filming of Jumanji transformed our central square and gazebo into the memorable and fictional town of Brantford, New Hampshire, cementing our place in cinematic history. We don't have a pair of shoes in here. Indeed, we pass it every day, right? And whereas today we welcome back special guests who were instrumental in bringing Jumanji to life, including renowned location manager Dow Griffith, whose discerning eye chose Keene after a good cup of double cappuccino. Maybe I got that wrong, I don't drink coffee. Who chose Keene as a pivotal filming location. Actor Bradley Pierce, who captivated audiences as young Peter Shepard, and prop manager Dan Sisson, the artistic mind behind the iconic Jumanji board game itself. And whereas their return marks a truly special occasion for our community, offering a unique opportunity to revisit the nostalgia of 1994 and 1995, when filming occurred across our broader community in Keene, Swansea, and Jaffrey. And whereas this weekend celebration includes screening of the Jumanji film in our century-old Colonial Theater, a Rhino Rumble road race, and a parade down Main Street tomorrow, and more, culminating in a special closing ceremony and mural unveiling in Central Square on Sunday, June 22nd, I believe beginning at noon, promising entertainment for all ages while honoring our city's unique connection to the Jumanji film. Now, therefore, I, as mayor of the city of Keene, do hereby proclaim June 20th through 22nd as Jumanji's 30th anniversary weekend in Keene, New Hampshire, inviting all residents to join in the festivities and celebrate this enduring legacy that continues to bring joy and recognition to our vibrant community. All right, now this is something special that I haven't rehearsed, but is really, this is pretty remarkable. The host committee wanted to make sure that we presented an honorary key to the city. Now, if anyone's seen the honorary keys to the city that the mayor gets to present, they're a little diminutive, but in accord with our budget frugality. But this is a memento meant to hang on a wall. So if I could ask Bradley Pierce to come forward. And Dow Griffith. We expanded the doors. And Dan Sisson. On behalf of the city, we are honored to have you back here for this weekend, and I hope that will hang on your walls as a memento of our affection for you as you have returned your affection to us. Thank you.
So our final speaker of the night is the Executive Director of the Cheshire County Historical Society. And it's somebody who is, when I talk with her, she is constantly speaking about how knowing our history is about knowing where our future is going. And so it's an honor to be able to be in the nonprofit ecosystem with Jenna Carroll. So thank you. Introduce our final speaker, our final guest, Executive Director Jenna Carroll.
The Jumanji Committee, thank our special guests and the Colonial Theater for helping to put this on. I'd like to start with a quick story. Back in January, a man walked into our Historical Society to view our photo collection. We had an exhibit on display, but we happened to be closed because we were working on some cleanup and reorganization. But we invited him in. He wandered past enlarged historic photos depicting the past 150 years in Keene's history, and he stopped at one in particular, a 1995 photograph by Keene Sentinel photographer Michael Moore showing a young Kirsten Dunst holding up the Jumanji game board. I was in that movie, he proclaimed, and we were all intrigued and we stopped what we were doing to ask more questions. As it turns out, this man's foot can be seen in the beginning of the film. So, we tried to get him to let us take a photo of his foot, but he was shy, or at least his foot was. It was the beginning of an idea to document the history of that film and the ways that our community has evolved. Fast forward a couple months ago, the Historical Society decided to conduct some oral histories with those involved in the film to help celebrate the 30th anniversary. In a moment, we're going to share stories from the set, commemorating the 30th anniversary of Jumanji, a compilation of interviews with both community members and film production crew on the making of this 1995 movie. This 14-minute film was produced by the Historical Society of Cheshire County and stars Charles Porlier, a Hollywood makeup artist who worked on the film, and local celebrities David Zay, Madeline Murphy, Rick McMillan, and Susan Lord. In addition to the project, the community has been very generous, loaning and even gifting memorabilia related to the making of the film, as well as a community memorial created after the passing of Robin Williams. We received artifacts related to the filming of Jumanji, and finally we received on loan a special artifact, a portion of a prop statue of a general on horseback that was used as part of the scenery of the film. These items will be on display tomorrow morning only between 9 a.m. and noon at the Historical Society on Main Street, so please stop by, it's free. And we want to thank our sponsors, the Putnam Foundation, Bergeron Construction, John G. Burke and Associates, and the King Sentinel. So lastly, I just want to call your attention to my favorite thing about this short film. It captures not just a moment in our community's history, but it serves as a perfect example of how national events ripple through and shape our local stories. In 1995, when the cameras rolled into our town, something remarkable happened. Our neighbors, friends, and fellow community members didn't just witness Hollywood history in the making, they became a part of it. When a major motion picture chooses your hometown as its backdrop, it's never just about the scenery. It's about the character of the community, the authenticity of its people, and the stories that live in its streets. This intersection of local and national, of Hollywood and hometown, reminds us that history isn't just made in major events far away. It's made right here, in the moments when our ordinary lives intersect with extraordinary events. So I'm so proud of the way our community is intentional in celebrating its past and preserving these kinds of shared experiences, where even the story of a local foot becomes a catalyst for creating something that showcases why local history matters so deeply. Thank you very much.